Welcome back into Coach's Corner East on this Wednesday, October 5th. I'm your host, Mike Sparks. It's the Colonel Crawford portion of tonight's show. We're brought to you in part by Stephen Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown Galleon and Crestline. Dr. Thomas M. Britton at Clubview Vision Center next to the golf course in Bucyrus. Joe Kleiman Associates at the Galleon office of First Federal Bank of Ohio. Jake Bruner, head football coach at Colonel Crawford, joins me now. And boy, Coach, you weren't here last week. Talked to David Miller. I know you had some other things on your plate. We talked extensively about the tough loss to Cary, which was just an outstanding football game. I did get a chance to watch that, and I was a little surprised about last week's result. You fall to Upper Sandusky, 30-29. You're now 5-2 overall, 2-2 in the Northern 10 Conference. Trailing 29-22 in overtime. Their Upper scored a TD on a 5-yard pass from quarterback Caden Holman to Evan Hill, and then Upper's coach Russell Hall made the decision that we got this far, we're going to go for the win. Called a timeout. The Rams decided to go for the road win. Holman faked to the right, turned and found Brady Hart off to the left side. He caught the ball and dashed into the end zone. And it was interesting. Coach Hall said to the Crawford County Now, that's what the coaching staff has been waiting for us to come out and finally execute against a great Crawford team. We knew that they would throw a lot. They did throw a lot. Anything surprise you about what transpired Friday night?
Not really, because when you put the ball on the ground 6 times, we fumbled the opening kickoff, and then obviously our defense held them, and then we got the ball and drove it about 80 yards down the field and fumbled on the 1-yard line. Put the ball on the ground 6 times. It's going to be awful hard, even if you have 400 yards of offense, to come out with a win. And the bottom line is, we were up 15-0, and we're driving for that third score, and just couldn't put that on the board before halftime. And they're too good of an offense to give just a 15-point lead to going into the second half. And then when they came out and stopped us, and finally got a score in there in the third quarter, just made it awful tough on our defense to put them in that situation so many times.
When I talked to Coach Miller last week, I said, how's practice been? Did you notice in the kids any letdown, anything like that? Did you see any carryover into that game, or it was just mistakes and couldn't respond from the mistakes?
I think a little bit of it is the mistakes we made. I'm not sure that we put the same effort that we put in the week before on the field, but it wasn't because they didn't want to. It's just how the game transpired, and you got to give them credit. A lot of people don't. Upper Sandusky was picked by a lot of people to be in tops in the league. They have 17 seniors. Mm-hmm. They have 12 juniors, a great quarterback, and a tremendous amount of receivers. They're really good offensively. And when you give an offense that many opportunities like we did, you're giving them more opportunities to to throw the ball and get those scores on there. And on top of the fact that we missed a field goal in the fourth quarter, that would have pretty much iced the game for us.
Yeah, you're up, as you mentioned, 15-0 at half, and boy, it's like you're reading my notes upside down. Braxton Morton missed a 30-yard field goal wide left, and then the Rams took over at their own 20, with 3 minutes left and all 3 timeouts, and a 1-yard plunge with 11 seconds left knotted the score, send the game in overtime after a clutch 2-point conversion. Cam Moore raced 20 yards on the opening play of overtime to put you up 29-22. Was there ever any thought there? Because I know Braxton Morton's a great kicker. Was there any thought with your coach to say, let's go for 2 to make them go for 2 to tie them?
No, we were going to kick the extra point, and our defense, obviously, they ended up scoring and going for 2, which we knew right away they would go for 2 if they did score. But it was a 4th down conversion there as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not like our defense just gave up. I mean, we literally scored on the first play from overtime. He was untouched, kicked the extra point, and our defense has played well all year. But like I said, I think if you go back and look at that game, we put our defense in a tough situation. They were on the field so much that eventually you get a quarterback like the Holman kid and the receivers that they're going to find an opportunity, and they did, and they give them credit for what they're doing. They've got a nice team. They really do.
The object of any team sports is, of course, to win, and you want to win as often as you can, but there can be good things that come out of defeats, especially for a team that's likely going to make the playoffs like yourselves. What good things could come out of what you saw in the last 2 weeks to help prepare for things down the road?
Well, hopefully our kids see that, hey, it's every game, one game at a time. We can't look past anyone. And we've got to play the kind of football that we want to play. And when you turn the ball over, we talk about it every week. Turnovers are huge for us. The difference between the last 2 years for us and the 3 years prior to that was how many times we put the ball on the ground.
Right.
So that's something we got to fix. And obviously we know we can fix it. And we can do some other things. And our kids have done a great job. And they handled everything as good as any kids can. They took responsibility for how they played and what they did, and we regrouped.
Cam Lohr, 4-7 passing, 70 yards, 17 rushes for 74 yards. Matt Kleiner, 17 rushes, 112. Dyer, 7 for 69. Thomas, 3 for 43. He had 332 yards rushing, another 70 passing for just over 400 yards total offense. Upper rushed for 208, passed for another 193. So 402 to 401. That's pretty doggone close. And the scoreboard kind of showed that, didn't it?
It did. But in the first half, they didn't get a score. And our defense, our game plan on defense was to let them run the ball because they want to throw it, and they're very dangerous throwing the ball. Right. And so the inability for us to put 21 of the points on the board, which would have made them one-dimensional, was really the difference in the game.
Okay, very good. Talk to young men around the table. We're brought to you in part by the Burkhardt family at the Burkhardt Farm Center, your Case IH dealers straight west of Gallion on the Manette New Winchester Road. Mike Kleinite at Ag Credit Residential Lending, Bucyrus, Mount Gilead, and Marion. Sweet Baby Ray Jones and Kendra Weaver at Ohio Door and Sash, 120 South Street, Gallion, and Mark Osborne at E-Crane International, Route 598 on the north edge of Gallion. And joining me first, Micah Thomas, Jr., thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And 2 losses in a row. How has practice been this week? Has there been kind of a pep in your step, gotten back after it?
Yes, there has been. Everybody's been more motivated. I mean, that tough Harry loss, we kind of realized, hey, this team is actually beatable, and I don't think we really brought it as much as what we showed last week.
And we got a big rival coming up. Wynford, of course, always been a rival for many, many years. If that doesn't motivate you to get ready, then I don't know what will. Royals have had a kind of a tough year, but they've won 2 in a row against Bucyrus and Buckeye Central. A team that likes to run the ball. What does your defense have to do to get them stopped?
I think we are going to go into that same game as how we went into Cary, because we know that they want to run the ball. And Coach Bruner here has preached it all week that we haven't had much success against this Wynford team.
Yeah.
So it would be it's a big game for us, even if they're not having the best year.
Sure, because they're going to be ready too.
Yeah, we're going to get their best.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good luck, have fun. I know it's your last road game of the regular season. Short trip, it's not a long bus ride. It should be a great atmosphere. Have fun with it.
Thank you.
You bet. Jacob Lucius is back. It's good to see you again. And anything surprise you about what Upper did, either offensively or defensively last week?
I mean, nothing really surprised me overall. I mean, we could have went out there and played hard. I mean, I thought we were not giving as much effort as we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Just wasn't ourselves.
Did you see anything just in your teammates that just oh crap, we didn't expect this, and maybe caught you by surprise, or was just, hey, like Coach said, tip your hat to them, they did what they had to do to win?
I mean, a little bit of both. I mean, after the game, I think everyone was just down. I mean, people were saying it was their fault. I mean, it's not just one person's fault, the whole team.
But good practices this week so far?
Yeah, very good practice, very intense, up pace.
Yeah, nobody wants to go down 3 straight games, and you want to get back after it and get into it. And as I said, if you can't get up for Wynford, I don't know what you can get up for. Again, a team that is extremely explosive, they want to be very ball control. Your defense, I would think, would have to be really key to get them off the field, get your offensive on the field. Would that be true?
Yeah, that would be very true.
Okay.
I mean, Wynford, they're a team that's got nothing to lose, or a team that's got everything to lose.
Right. Great point. Great attitude. Well, good luck. Have fun over there and enjoy the game. Next up, it's Nevin Sinnett. Glad to see you again. Thank you for coming. Love the sarcasm shirt there, too. I appreciate that. So you dropped 2 in a row. You got to get back on track. We're going to talk to Coach. I know he doesn't want to, but I'm going to do it anyways, a little bit about playoffs, and that's coming up. But what is it that you and your teammates have to do to get back on track this week, to stay focused?
Really just keep our head where it needs to be. Don't get too low about the losses, and remind ourselves what we still have to come. We still have a few games, and hopefully the playoffs we perform the way we should in these next 3 games.
Yeah.
And just work as hard as we can.
How's your overall health? You feeling pretty good at this point, getting late in the season here?
Yeah, I right now I feel better than I pretty much ever have.
Good.
But with practice and everything that we do before practice and the running, the lifting, I just feel like I'm in the best health that I've ever been right now.
That's great. Good to hear. Well, good luck. Enjoy the atmosphere. It's always good. And I mean, those two teams could be 0-9 going into Week 10, and it'd be a great atmosphere just because of the rivalry. So have a good time with it and have fun.
Thank you.
You bet. Kanye Wilcox is up next, and Kanye, it's good to see you back here. And nobody loves to lose. I mean, it's not fun. It's not why you play the game. You want to win. But what are maybe some things that you personally took away from the last couple of weeks that motivate you to say, well, I'm going to finish out. I'm going to do whatever it takes in practice in the game to finish out and make sure that we win our last 3 games of the year and go strong, hopefully, into the playoffs.
Well, I feel like we're all up and motivated about this game because 2 losses
Right.
in a row. We should be up, and I think we're ready for win.
Yeah, and you told me in the past this is your first year playing, and this is a really unique rivalry. A team like, or 2 schools that I think they don't necessarily like each other, but there's a lot of mutual respect. Have you thought about what that atmosphere might be like Friday night? Because I'll give you a little tip. It's mini cheerleading night at Wynford, so there'll be a ton of people on their side, and I know that the Crawford fans, they will come out in droves. Are you looking forward to that atmosphere, just being part of that?
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a good atmosphere for us. Our fans will show up.
All right.
We have a lot of people on our side.
All right, well, good luck. Have fun with it. Enjoy it, and I hope you get the win. And finally, we have Tim Falk there. It's good to see you again. We got some hardware on there. You're going to be okay to go on Friday night, or it's still up in the air?
It's still up in the air. I got a doctor appointment on Friday to see if I can get a heart cast.
Okay, did that happen last week?
Yeah, Thursday.
Oh, in practice?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, okay. So hopefully you can go, and if not, next man up, right? Someone's going to have to fill in for you. All right. If you can't go, what do you think you're going to be doing on the sidelines to get your team pumped up and ready to go?
Cheering for my teammates, and if I see anything that they can fix, I'll try to help them fix that. Because then it'll get them motivated to fix it, be better. We all want to be better than we already are, so we all can be better than we are.
Would you maybe stand next to the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator and say, hey, I'm going to call plays because I think this will work?
No.
That's not going to happen at all. All right. Well, good luck. Have fun. I hope that you get an opportunity because it is, you've watched your brother play in this rivalry. You've played in this rivalry. You always want to play in that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Rivalries are fun.
Yes, they are. Well, you enjoy it. Have a good time with it, okay? All right, come back, talk to Coach Bruner here in just a moment. We're brought to you in part by Lee Plimo and Brad Seibert at the Plimo Insurance Group, Gallion and Bucyrus, North Central State College, Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center, North Walnut Street, across from the courthouse in Bucyrus, Phil and Sue Schreck at Phil's Deli, just east of the Pizza Hut at the bridge here in Gallion, as well as John Rolls at John's Auto Repair Specialist, 800 Scott Street in Crestline. And Coach Bruner, I don't know why I didn't put it down, but you are, even despite the 2 losses, you're still in the playoff hunt. Top 16 team get in. And kind of the same thing I asked Coach Dick, and I know you and your coaches have probably talked about it. Do you even mention it to the kids, or it's really what's in front of us right now?
For us, it's nothing we can control. So, we know probably if we do some things that we'll be in the playoffs. But at this point, for us, it's just really focused on Wynford right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let's talk about that. You're heading over to Wynford, the Battle of the Iron Plow, always a big rivalry-type game. Coach Kyle Skidmore, a graduate of Wynford a few years ago, and then played his college football at Findlay. Had a little tough year, a non-Wynford-like year. I think it was the first time since '77 or something like that they started 0-5. Seemingly, they've turned it around, arguably not against the toughest teams in the conference, but a win's a win. They're starting to do some good things offensively. They want to be ball control. They don't like to throw it that much. They haven't shown to throw it that much. Does that help you and your defensive staff? Because, okay, if you want to be one-dimensional, we'll work to take that away.
first of all, I think Kyle, I knew Kyle as a player playing against him, and I have the utmost respect for him, and I think he's doing a great job. Number two, looking at their schedules, a lot like Upper Sandusky. They played Otsego week 1 and played them tough as nails. They played Pleasant and Lucas. Obviously, Lucas is having a pretty good season. They've lost a couple because of some injuries lately, but they played a tough and then they started with Cary and Mohawk in the league, I believe.
Right.
So, give them some credit that they've played some of the tougher teams the front half of their schedule. And he had some injuries and things. I can see them getting better on film. Obviously they want to run the ball, but I'll tell you, their quarterback can really throw the ball. He does scare me. He has a tremendous arm. We actually talked to our kids today about his ability to throw the deep ball and his ability to do those things. So I think they have the capability to do that. So as much as we worry about the run, we also know they're capable of doing that. So it's a rivalry game. They got nothing to lose. We're going to get their best effort Friday night when we go there, and we know that.
And let's face it, they still have a chance to get in if they can win out. They're going to play Upper Sandusky that's a couple divisions up, or at least one division up.
2.
And you're going to have a lot of points on the line. Seneca East have a lot of points. So they do have something to play for. Maybe it's not league implication. They defeated Buckeye Central last week 35-15. They only average 12.7 points per game, give up 21.6. They've been shut out twice. They've averaged actually a little more in the last couple games, 27.5 in the last 2 games, and only given up 14.5 in the last couple games. And you talk about Ashton Warren. He has 3 touchdown passes, but he's also thrown 8 picks. That's an opportunity for your defensive back.
It is. I think if I were to say that some of his strengths, he's a kid that has a strong arm that thinks he can make every throw, and I mean that in a positive way. I think he's a kid that really likes to battle. You can see on film that he's not afraid to throw it on his back foot and do those things, and he can make that throw sometimes that some people can't make. So we know the ability he has both to run and to throw the ball, as well as their backs that they have.
It's an interesting concept not only for you because you lived this rivalry when at Bucyrus. Now you're reliving it again at Crawford, and quite a few of your coaching staff, it's like a homecoming for them. But all that aside, it's just a great atmosphere between really 2 solid programs. You just got to love that opportunity.
Absolutely. Our kids have gotten to play in some big games this year, and this is going to be another big game. And when you go to Wynford, it's going to be besides mini cheer night, it's going to be a good faithful turnout in the Bucyrus gang area, and we look forward to both the home and away, the clientele that'll be there. So
right, and family rivalries
absolutely
too. Right? Yeah, very good. Well, good luck. We'll talk about that next week and heading into week 9. And I appreciate all of you coming out. Good luck. Have a great time. Okay?
Thanks, Mike.
Take a break. We'll come back with Galleon Junior High football right after this timeout.